Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm John Hinkle, the Senior Pastor of First Presbyterian Church. This is your Saturday morning preview of Sunday morning sermon, which I'm doing in my dining room. I was about to tell you my address, but, this is going over to the interweb, so we don't necessarily need, my groupies tracking me down, coming to my house. So, we are on our fourth hymn. Of course, you remember we're doing the 5 major hymns that have impacted the American church culture in the 20th and now 21st century. And so now we are on hymn number 4. Bobby did a great job with Holy, Holy, Holy. And so I am doing the second hymn, which is How Great Thou Art. The journey of How Great Thou Art is fascinating to me. You can hear Layla calling. There's Layla. So anyway, How Great Thou Art is a fascinating story. And I'm not going to tell you in the video because I want you to come in tomorrow and hear the sermon. Tomorrow being Sunday, and hear the sermon. But I want to let you know how it got to the United States is not a simple path. It's a very, very windy kind of road. And but through God's divine providence, we get this great hymn. And the great hymn really gains traction in the American church culture through the New York Summer Crusades of Billy Graham in the 1950s, and we're going to talk about that. Actually, we had to have a church member who actually was a volunteer in those crusades, and I will mention who that is in the sermon. So if you're wanting to find out, you got to come to the sermon. But the crusade would end with the singing of George Beverly Shea leading the choir. And if you're over the age of 50, you know who George Beverly Shea is. If you're under the age of 40, you probably don't. But anyway, George Beverly Shea, in that baritone voice of his, would lead the congregation, meaning everybody packed in Madison Square Garden, in the singing of How Great Thou Art. And from there, it kind of took a hold. It wasn't, interesting enough, that was, I think 1957 was the crusade. It wasn't in our 1953 hymnal, the red hymnal. And everybody kind of always finds that curious. Why wasn't it in the 1953 red hymnal? Because it wasn't introduced to the wider American church audience until 1954, after the red hymnal was made. And so it makes the 1983 blue hymnal. And that's why we're able to sing it today, because it made that. So we're going to kind of talk about that journey. But our text comes from Romans 11. And it's called the doxology of the book of Romans. And the doxology, its technical term, is an end of praise, meaning that it's the punctuation, it's the exclamation mark of what we are doing here. And we get that in Romans 11. Now, Romans, the book of Romans, is really kind of the linchpin of the Reformation. Martin Luther said all of the Reformation hinges on Romans 8. So Paul lays out an argument from Romans 1 to Romans 11 that it is through Christ and Christ alone we are saved. And he ends with a doxology, praising God. In so many ways, How Great Thou Art is simply that. It is a doxology. So I look forward to being with you Sunday. Remember, we're back to our regular schedule, 8:30, 11 o'clock. I'm starting a new Presbyterian 101. I hope to see you. We're looking forward to being with you. I'm excited. Let me say, I should be excited about every sermon I preach. I am way excited about this sermon. I don't know why. I just am. I think it's because I learned so much about a hymn that I thought I knew its background. Didn't even come close. So I look forward to being with you. Shout out to Glenn Emery, Will Fraley, Savannah, I hope to see you in church. Y'all take care.